Ismail, were you a part of any of that conversation at all yesterday about the pagination issue?
Ismail wasn't in yesterday.
Right, he was gone all day.
Yeah, I was
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
traveling.
want to catch him up? No worries. Yeah, you want to catch him up, Jerry?
Hey,
Are we
Ismail,
still? Where are we at with it?
uh, Ismail, if you go in development chat, so I don't think it was a weird state of the chat. There was the Maggot Army group, and if you go to my screen recordings, let's see, I sent a couple yesterday, like 11:57, and it looks like at 12 o'clock. That if I went in the Maggot Army main chat, I backed out and went back in. I wasn't able to paginate in the main chat.
And this is what build?
This was in 26 or
So the
23.
latest.
Let me see what I'm in. 27. 27.
Mm,
27.
okay. So you go into the chat.
But I
And
don't
it's
know.
only in the maggot chat, right, Jerry? It's not in any other chats that we've been able to reproduce.
Well, it was whatever state the maggot chat was in, because I can paginate the maggot chat now. That's the.
Yeah, and I think it has something to do with the preview cards of other topics.
Mm.
If like the first page of the messages, they're all preview cards, you can paginate more. And I'm suspecting is loading more. Like you remember, like you added this is loading more rev like a two
Mm-hmm.
week ago to fix some pagination issue.
Correct.
So I think that is loading more. It's never true. So the pagination never hits. So
Mm-hmm.
the tricky part is just like to produce it to confirm that it's the is loading more because you need to have the chat in that specific state where the page of the first page of the messages they're all preview cards.
Mm. Mm. Why do you think the preview cards have anything to do with this?
This is how we, like yesterday we all were able to produce it,
Oh, you
and
were.
it was yeah yesterday we're all like were able to produce it, and it was like the mega chat, it was in this state where it's only preview cards,
Mm.
and as soon as new messages coming into the chat, none of us could produce it again.
Interesting. Oh, preview cards. Mm. So you're telling me if we create a new chat,
I'm trying
uh,
to get it going now.
but wait, it fetches like 30 messages. Like, there's no way there was 30 preview cards.
Not 30 preview cards, but it could be just three preview cards,
Mm-hmm.
and each preview card has 10 message, for example.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't. I don't think it paginates more than. It's not going to
Well,
paginate the messages inside the preview card, all of them,
well,
or load them even.
this is how we witness it. So the might be to use something else, and we just like thought it has to do something with the viewer cards, but that's when it was broken.
Mm, interesting. So there's a specific state that the chat was in. It looks like that caused it.
Yeah, it was not able to score in that state.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna need to find out what that state looks like. Try to reproduce it, I guess.
I'm filling up a chat right now to see if that can do anything.
Hmm. And you're doing it with different topics for the same topic.
I have 2 different topics.
Okay. So let me see the screen recording to be able to look at that. And this is where it froze. It doesn't pay. Okay, so but also you guys say all preview cards. I see it right now where it's not paginating it in Slack, and I see a preview card, and then I see a regular message, another preview card, another regular message, and another preview card. So they're not all preview cards, so to speak. So I don't think it has anything to do with them all being preview cards. I think there is a specific state, like probably a certain like scenario where it will not paginate. It looks like, but I don't think it's all preview cards because I see messages in there. At least in Jerry's recording, I do. And for yesterday, when you guys were not able to paginate, did you just open main chat and you just did it paginate? Like everyone just opened main chat and oh, it didn't paginate.
First time in main chat was fine, but if you backed out and went back in, then you had the issues.
So the issue is when you back out and you go back in. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see here. And well, if you back out and go back in, that tells me maybe there's some kind of like atom or some kind of global state that holds its value that could be causing this. Okay, so I'm looking at the pagination logic here. We do have a ref, but that's obviously not a global state. So if you leave the chat and come back, that should reset. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I don't see anything global or like an atom or anything that could prevent this from paginating. We also need the message has to have a next offset. Um, that was also part of the new condition, because if there's no next offset, it won't paginate, because if it does, it'll have duplicates in there. So if there's no next offset and the value was 10, it'll just do that again. And I guess it's a question for backend. When we do the get all messages for main chat, we're not fetching all the topic chats, right? In there?
Not the whole thread, but when we get all for the main chat, we include the messages in that page. And that's
Mm-hmm.
preview cards.
How many messages do we include?
Well, if it's part of the like main chat includes topic and main chat messages.
But does it include all of them? All the topic messages?
It shouldn't, no. It should just include the amount of messages in that topic.
The amount of messages in that topic. So that's all the topic messages.
Like the count.
Oh, so only 3.
Well, like the count, see how it says like plus 41 more?
Correct. So include all 41 messages in that API call.
I don't think it includes all 41. If it does, something needs to happen. No, something needs to change about that, but I'm pretty sure we're just giving you a calculated count.
Mm. Are you sending those messages on QA or prod?
I'm putting them in prod right now just because this is the build that we have. I'm just gonna try and reproduce that chat.
Okay.
And
That's what I have found. And this is inside this thing. So the first one paginated, then if you go again. Paginated again. Okay. I mean, if I was to probably, let me see. So there's certain conditions again that have to be met for this to work. That is, the network status cannot be fetching more, cannot be loading. It has to have an offset, and its loading current has to be false. So if it's not, yeah. So one of those is failing. Now for the first two, the fetch more and the loading, I'm gonna say it's safe to assume it's not those because, well, those are the network status. As for the second two, the first one is a ref, so that would be false by default. So I don't see how it would prevent the first pagination if it hasn't paginated yet. And then the message next offset, that's where I'm thinking maybe there's something going on there. Maybe it has to do with large topic message volume. So when we have a lot of, like as you're doing right now, Jerry, you're creating a lot of topic messages. Maybe that somehow interferes with getting that next offset.
maybe.
Okay, wait, stop. I think you created it. Or what's the first message in the, is it test?
In the group,
In the group chat.
uh test, yeah.
Oh, never mind. Then it's still paginated. Oh yeah, never mind. It's still paginated. Mm. And in the screen recording you sent, I see you had there was so the first one had 19. The second group chat had 36 plus messages. And that's where um can we have one of them have more than 30, Jerry?
More than 30? Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean I can just help you type random stuff.
I'll just
You're
pick.
just typing in. Oh wait, is this okay? I see you're typing in very long messages. Is that intentional?
Yeah, I'm just trying to break it.
Mm. Can I just type numbers, or do you want them to be long? Are you looking something in particular with them being very long?
I mean, it doesn't paginate. That's kind of what I know here. Oh, okay, wait. I think I see what you're saying. So, if all the discussion was in that topic, that custom topic, that could prevent the pagination possibly.
Yeah, if you have 30 plus messages.
Oh, if the whole page, I see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing line.
Hmm. Well, looks like we have 33 here.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
It looks like still paginated. Was it 30 or 40? What was our limit? Look at the screen recording again. Hmm. Okay, I think that's enough in terms of. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's not paginating anymore. Oh, wait, it just did. I guess it just took a minute. I'm seeing weird behavior here. Okay, Jerry, so it looks like we are getting all the group messages inside.
Everything inside that topic, but everything for that page.
No, it looks like for the topic itself, because if you go back right now, or actually if you close the app and then do it, for the topic itself, you'll notice how initially it just loads the topic, and then give it a minute, and then it'll load the rest. That means it fetched, like, it got the initial topic messages, and then it looks like it fetched the rest. I guess let me look at the API response. That'll be the best. I just have to switch my environment to prod, so give me a second.
Oh, I broke it. Ismail, I broke it.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. So go in. Oh, well, it's paginating for me now. So now if I go back
Go back and
then go back in, now it shouldn't paginate. But it is.
oh, I wonder if it's that I'm on a Pro Max. I'm on a different size and like the boundaries of the scroll. Like the boundaries of like the pagination indicator is different.
Um, oh, um, hmm. Well,
I don't think so. Yesterday, Jerry, it happened to me, you and Amin, and Amin was on an emulator.
Okay, go say I have a Pro Max and I think you have a Pro Max, right, John?
Yeah, but I think
What
it
was the
happened to
means
me on
emulator size?
not a max.
Well, but what was it? The
16 Pro.
what
Which
now?
one?
The 16 Pro.
16
16
Pro.
Pro, not max.
Yeah, no, Max.
Yeah, I think someone else recreated it too.
So I got I made a test chat, John, and I got it broken now. On my
Okay.
Which group you are? Like, is it a production?
Yeah, I mean it's the Ismail invite test. Ismail.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Um.
So the first time it paginates for you, Jerry, but the second time it doesn't.
Actually, let me get out the app. Yes. So the first time it paginates, so I back out, go back in. Okay, well now it's flickering. Right, it flickered and then it paginated.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what's going on with me too.
that flicker is because we have a lot of topic messages, is what I'm assuming. That's what I want to check right now. So the flickering tells me it could be that it tried to paginate, but obviously the topic messages won't show other than the last three. But we shouldn't be getting all the topic messages in that API call to begin with. Because that doesn't seem very efficient or needed. So let me see how this API works. Let me switch it to prod on my environment and rerun the app.
Yeah, now it's paginating for me. Like it flickers, but the Ismail, the thing is though, it flickers and like I see the page above it. Like
Yeah, because it fetched twice. Like it got so you know how you have like 50 in that? So let's say we get 30. So it gets like the first 30, then it goes over to 60, and then paginates a second time or a third time to get all the messages. That's what I'm assuming. I just want to look at the API response and then I can confirm if that is actually the case or not. So over here, yeah. So I just opened the chat. Let me see how many paginations I got. Get all group topics. That's not it. Okay, get all group messages. Get all group messages. Yeah. So I got 3 paginations as soon as I opened the chat, and I didn't even scroll. Now keep in mind, it shouldn't paginate at all unless you do scroll, or that means we're getting a lot of messages. So let me look at the data that I'm receiving here. The first one was 30, second one was 60, and the third one was 90. So yes, so far looks like my theory checks out. If we look at the data that gets returned, for the first pagination, I can see that the first 3 messages were, or let me copy this object so I can take a better look at it. Let's see here. So no topic, yeah, for the first message, no topic for the second, no topic for the third, and then the fourth after that. No topic still. Okay, the fifth, there we go. So now the topics start coming in, and yeah. So after that, each and every single message. So let me see where you have 28, 29, 30. So those are the numbers. Let me look at the message contents here. So just make sure it is those numbers. Um, oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's fetching all of the topic messages, Jerry. So like you know how we have 57 messages in the custom topic?
Okay.
It's fetching them all inside main chat. That's why it's flickering. That's why it's taking a little extra long.
So we have to fetch all of the topic message, like it's a separate query for get all topic message. Is that what's happening?
Okay, so now we have two ways to get messages. One is for the main chat, and the other one is for a topic. So we have get all messages and we have get all topic messages. Like they're two different queries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like the main message, the main chat message, is fetching the main chat and all the topic messages as well.
Can you share your screen and show me what the response looks like?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at the, is it here?
Yeah.
This, right here. So first of all, you can see that I didn't like scroll. I'm still here,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see that we have. If you look at the payload, you'll see that we have our first pagination, right, with fetch 30, and this is for get all group messages. And then you can see over here the second one with this is the same one. Oh, sorry. 60, that's the offset where we need to look at the offset. And this offset was 30, and this offset was 0. So you can see that I paginated 3 times, right? Even though I didn't scroll.
So yeah, show me what it looked like in the response.
And then in the response, so for the first one, from 0 to 30, you have the following. So if you look at the message, let's like, if you look at the message content, right? So you can see that we get 4, 3, 2, 1, which is the first 3 messages, right? And then after that, we start getting the 30, and then the 29, the 28, but it keeps going, 27, 26, 25. So it gets each and every single one of them.
Because there are, I'm trying to remember. So there are 30 messages in that topic, though. Like there's only 30 instances of message content.
Yeah, so it fetches 30 at a time, but it's fetching all 57 of these before it gets to this one.
That was my follow-up. So where is it doing that? And well, why is it doing that?
Well, I guess that's how it's been set up, it looks like.
But there's no reason. Like the only reason it would be doing it is to get the count.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think we need to get 57. I think we just need to get the last 3.
We don't even need the 3 because they're in that query. 28, 29.
Well, the query itself has all 57 of these messages.
Where do you see all 57? Because I only see.
Well, right here, like, are you not looking at them? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen, but
Okay, so you see the first 4 messages, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And now this is 30, referencing the topic message,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have 29, you have 28. Now, now the fourth one should be this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, no, it keeps going. 27, 26, 25. So it's basically fetching these messages right here.
I understand that we do grouping. Like, I understand that there's grouping in there, and that's why it's doing it. Okay, so I thought, where is the 57 coming from then?
Yeah, it's coming from the back end as well.
Where, like which query?
I think. Let me see.
That only has 30 messages. Like, yes, some of them are topic questions.
Wait, that's a good point. Let me see where this is coming from. This only has 30 messages. Oh yeah, you're right. So that count is off. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. It has more.
Yeah.
So it does have 57 messages.
Yeah, so where's the 57 coming from?
Let's see here.
Hopefully it's a count field.
There is a count field. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Amit, or is Amit here?
He was running late.
He's on the okay. Pretty sure he set that up. So
Forrest,
let
click on
me
12.
find this on the front end for you.
No, he's
I
here.
joined.
Amit's here.
Yeah, I joined.
Amit, do you remember where the more messages is coming from? Looks like yeah, it's from
Topic
yeah,
12.
it's
No.
called total count.
Okay.
So yeah, it's from the API.
Which okay, it's cool. That's as long as we're not doing a okay. I then that's fine.
Well, it says 6. Oh, so it's 60 minus the 3 that show. That's the logic. So you can see over here that the total count is 60, but I do minus the offset, which is like basically the 3 that are paginated already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's this logic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my main concern is like I said, we shouldn't fetch all 60 in the main chat.
Yeah, I see where you're coming. You're going here. The $1,000,000 question is how to not like. I don't even know if this could be efficiently queried
Mhm.
because we would have to see if there are 3 in a sequence and then cut it off at 3.
I see.
A lot of work on the database to say, okay, well, we need to cut off the query at 3. And we have to like remember that for all of our pagination. And then also, actually, no, then that's immediately going to break. Think about it. If there's pagination that breaks like inside a topic. So we kind of need all the messages to come through like they are.
Unless
Because think about it, if message 30 was like the first message in a topic card, and then it fetches the next page, and the first message on that next page, like would also be in that topic card because it is in that 3. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
it does. So I'm thinking maybe instead of so when we have a topic message, maybe instead of returning the actual messages, we have like a flag or not a flag, but then we have to think of backward compatibility here. Um I was thinking maybe we return like the topic key here, right? The topic object indicating that, and then we have a different we'd use the get topic query to get only 3 messages and add them here. Like
But
you know what I mean?
we don't know the offset of those messages though.
Well, we'll get the latest 3. Oh, I guess, but then if we go up here, that would
We don't know the offset, so
yeah. Okay. Ooh. But you know what? You know what could be nasty? Are we getting them again here?
59 more.
No, like we fetch 60 messages here. Are we fetching another 60 here?
We're not fetching the 60 messages though. We're fetching just the count. It's coming from total count.
No, we are. That's what I'm saying. Like we fetch every single message inside this topic.
Wait, we are?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Wait, hold on. Are we? Let me. So the one query returns 57 messages. Is that what you're saying?
No. We paginate 30 at a time. It's paginating. So what it's doing is it's saying, okay, 1 message, 2 message, 3 messages, 4, and then it treats this as another message. If you look here at the object, again, as I was saying, if we go, let's go here, we have message. Let's look at message content here. So let's look at this. So we have 4, which is the first message.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Makes sense so far?
And then
Now
So,
this is the topic. This is the message for this one.
uh-huh.
Now it's inside the frame because it has a topic object.
Mhm.
And then we have topic 29, which is the second message. This is all part of the same query, by the way. And then we have 28. Now after 28, that's this message, right? But
Oh,
guess what? It actually fetched 27, 26, which you don't see on the screen because they're hidden.
because
Because
they're
we only show the last three, but it fetched every single message.
I think you're asking now, like on the next page, are we fetching 29, 28, 27? Are we like, so if you scroll up,
Oh, yeah.
it's,
I want to see if we do that again or not here.
I don't think, because with the query, the way that the database structures messages is like this query for for main chat. This is the most simple like query you can on a message table, because our message table has two things. It has a group key and it has a topic key. So if you
Mhm.
fetch everything in a group key without a topic key, you get this query here.
Mm, okay, I think you're right. I think what's happening is, well, let's see here. So after 28, so the message where it stops at would be, I would love to help. And if we go up here, let me see, where to say I would love to help.
Sorry, copy pasted a lot of
It's okay. I would love to help. So it looks like it's gonna fetch these as well. Like it's gonna fetch all this, then it's gonna stop here, stop at this message, right? So this page right here fetched all the way up here. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And then I guess it stopped. And then it went back to main chat. And then it went back here, fetched probably like 10 or 18 more. Then it fetched this one. Then it went back to this one and got this one. So I guess that's how it works. So yeah, you're right. I don't think we'll have duplicates,
Mm-hmm.
but we will have eventually, if we scroll, if we pagine enough, we will have every single main chat and topic loaded here.
Which that's kind of how this thing works. But yeah, I can understand, like, if you do scroll a lot, it's like we almost need to, it could fill up memory if you really go through. But I mean, even the same thing happens in iMessage. Like if you go in a very long chat and you scroll up all the way, it starts to get sluggish.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this is mainly a problem if you have a long topic thread
Mm-hmm.
like this one, where you have like a long topic thread that is not interrupted, or or if they're like, or even if they were interrupted, if they were part of like, if they're both visible on the screen, like let's say you have one message and you go back to this topic, and then like you have one message and then another 20 of these, that would be, even though you see like 10 or 9 messages, you in reality had loaded like over 100.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, if you to go back to the lobby and then go back into that group, what does it look like? Because you're not on the pro. Because my view of the pagination is different too, because I have my profile icons, so that changes the viewpoint. Could you invert the logic to where it looks like all of those messages I sent came from you, that you're the sender perspective?
Okay, give me a second here. Mm,
I think even if you
Let me see. Well, we need to look at the
yeah.
send bubble. Send you guys as a receiver. Oh, I guess it doesn't. It's not that easy. I have to change this style as well. which would be a way.
Instead of changing the code, could you set your user key? I think where the in the persisted user query, could you set your user key to my user key? I think that might be easier. Let's see. So
Yes, sender.
before, let me
So
find the
for this one right here, I guess let's have to hard code my user key here. Or not here, not in this one in particular. I have to go to, we have yeah, right here. So the sender.
okay, yeah.
sender,
Go
and
there's source shared utils. Could you go to this file I'm going to send you the path for?
let's do this. There we go.
Okay. Oh, okay, that works. So back out, come back in.
What it flinched, but it eventually paginated.
What I was trying to say is that it flickered while it was like trying to paginate, which was weird.
Well, I guess the flicker is because, like I said, it probably has to do with this being very long. Well, I'm pretty sure it has to do with this being very long.
I would say it's hard for me to accept that because the messages above it are visible for just a moment before going away.
No, this other thing comes back. They are, but maybe because we have another one up here, maybe. So maybe it's maybe the flicker comes after. Because if we don't have a lot of topics like this, it would be you won't see a flicker. So that kind of tells me it has to do with.
And if I delete that last message I sent, I wonder if that would put your phone in the state that mine was in.
Is your phone still doing that?
I sent a message and then it broke it. So let me try this. I'm going to try to delete a couple messages.
Oh wait, it's not paginating.
Oh, no.
Did you do anything?
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay, let me see if I can log some data here. Let me see if this is true. Right here. Well, that's not trying to paginate. Period.
That's what I'm thinking. And why?
So like, let me see if this function is even being called at all. I don't know if I didn't change the code.
So if you like try to scroll down and back up. No?
Do what now?
Yeah. So I was wondering if you tried to scroll down and back up if something happened. But yeah, this is something I'm thinking that like the topic card is in like some perfect position that that doesn't let you hit that scroll boundary.
Oh. Wait, I'm stuck here. Okay. This could be good. Let's not do anything. So here was called, that means this was, let's be more specific. Let's do on end reached. And let's do here, and we'll do.
We should probably load variables.
We should do like fail. And then over here we'll do if and reach yada yada. So let's see what we have here. We'll just console log this. Well, maybe console log it before. Let's put this here and this way. Okay. And let's just take a quick look at these variables. So it looks like it failed. So it, which is good. That means it. Okay, so one of these looks like is failing us. So let's log these out real quick. We'll log this out. We'll log this out. We will log this out. It's on here. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have the last one is false, which it should be false. That's fine. Well, we initially had the next offset as true, so it does have an next does not have next offset. So it didn't have a next offset initially, which I guess is fine because the API was still fetching it, right? And then eventually we have false, false, which is good. Then we have 1, 1. Is it because we have the number 1? But this is oh, it's because I'm using it as a condition, obviously, so I have to console log it as such.
Check the fetch more. Like if you hover over it, it should preview what that enum value is.
The fetch more if I hover over it.
Well, like dot fetch more to your right. Sorry, like the network status dot fetch more.
Oh, you're talking about the okay.
See, that tells you what the status is. So it's loading. It's in a loading state.
So it's stuck in a loading state.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's see. Well, over here says 1, so let's do
Right.
1 more time. Oh, so we have this one is failing. Well, it's returning true. And
Right.
that is
Then it says it's in a loading state.
yeah. Well, no, this is the network's. This is not the actual state. This is the value. 1. Like this will always equal 3. This is what we're comparing it to. This is the state itself.
Right. And the state, that value is 1. Because the second Boolean in your list is true.
That's yeah.
So that means our network state would be loading.
Looks like yeah, it's stuck in a loading state. Yeah, which was stuck to 1, which is loading. Yeah. So yeah, it's 1. So therefore this one's true, therefore it keeps failing. And if you go to any other API, I don't know, look it for a second there. But yeah, let's try going back here. Still doing it. Okay, let's think about this. Why would we be stuck in a loading state? Mm, If I just comment this out and here. Oh, then it starts paginating again. That back in. Wait, what? Now it, interesting. You saw that?
No.
So I commented this out and I started paginating again, and then I added it back in, and it's kept working. Oh, yeah, see? Now it's working again. So it looks like sometimes this thing gets stuck on loading. And if it's stuck on loading, that's obviously it. That's out of your control and mine, honestly. If it, because like we don't control we don't, you send the data, I receive it, and this is handled by
Apollo client, right?
Apollo
It's
client.
always loading, like the logs. It always says it's loading.
Well, it did. Right now it was stuck, and the status was stuck at 1. No matter how many times I go back and in, but then now it's working. So it doesn't always do it, but it sometimes does it. Where it gets stuck on loading, yes. There's something weird happening. Yeah, why does it do that? Okay, wait, let's see that one more time. Okay, so you can see me from 30 to 60. Now, let's see if it does that blinking thing again. It did. Um, hmm. Okay, you see how it got blocked there? So that means that's good. When it gets blocked, it's prevented a duplicate. Or, yeah, so no, the logic itself is fine from what I can tell in terms of like this logic is reasonable. It's just this particular, the state looks like it's frozen on loading. And it just did it again. See that? Now it's 1. Yeah. So let's see, is it stuck in that state now? Now it's yeah. So now it's back to being stuck at 1. You guys see that? It just sometimes takes a few tries. I mean, are you following as well? Want to see, make sure you.
Yeah. Let me see.
So you see how. So at first it was working a second ago. I didn't leave the app. I just went back and forward a few times. Like I went to the lobby and back to the chat, and now you can see that the network state that I'm logging is equal to 1, right? And this is 1, the value of network status loading. 1 means loading, and 3 means fetching more. So therefore, this condition is always met. Therefore, it will never paginate. It would always just return empty.
I mean, like this is basically pagination, like what we doing in other places. Like this is not the only place where we do paginate.
Well, actually, we have a lot of problems in paginating in other places. This is much better pagination because, like, in other places we had, if 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 we're fetching it from the back end, especially, we have to have these conditions where we have to make sure the API is done paginating. Look, here's the thing: the problem is not the paginating itself. The problem is with the network state. Like this API, the network state of it was 1.
The
Like, why
reason
is the
why
network
it's
state
one
stuck
there,
at loading?
the reason why it's one, it's because you getting the value of it inside on and reached. So if you
Mm-hmm.
do that console log outside of on and reached, you will see it will change. Like the whole console log, because like the on
Mm-hmm.
and reached will be triggered when you're reaching the end. So at that point, it's loading,
Mm-hmm.
but when it's done, you don't read again the console log. That's why. So if you do the whole console log, if you just or have another one, then you will see it's gonna be changing.
Okay.
Can you change the console log name?
Mm, yeah, that's a valid point. So it eventually goes back to 7.
So
So,
relying on that network state load in there, it's not like a good idea
mhm.
because the moment you're gonna read the value, it's gonna be loading where you expecting it not to be, and I don't know.
That's a good point. Let's see here. I thought this was stateful though. Well, even if it
It is
was, I guess
stateful.
it
It is
won't
stateful.
trigger.
On and reached, it's only a function that's gonna be triggered once.
Mm,
It's not gonna be called every time the network status changed.
that's a good point too. Mm, well then this, but we do need it to basically.
You
So
need
do
it
you
to
see
not.
why it's a problem where, so basically, um, we get our next offset from the API, and you can see how that can be problematic for getting our next offset from the API, and it's not done loading yet, which is the case here. Then you would get the same offset twice, and you would have duplicate messages. So we need to find a way to basically connect this with this, where if the if the
Isn't it that what you're trying to do with the is loading more? So you're blocking it.
well, yeah, but they're. Mm, let me see. So let me see if, but we can't rely on this alone. Um, we can't rely on this alone because what this does is it just makes sure that the update query got called, right? See here. Mm, So this can still be like this can still create duplicates because think about it. If let's say like in this case, loading was not done. That means we for sure don't have the new offset. It will still go and it'll still update the state. It'll just update it with a duplicate.
And why we have duplicates to begin with?
Okay, right now when onEndReach was called,
Mhm.
what was this API still loading?
It would be
Yes,
loading. Yes. Yeah.
because the value is one. Now, if this API is loading, what does that mean? We have the new offset? No, because it's
Mm-hmm.
still loading. So that means then the offset would be duplicated. So you would
Are
call
you saying the on end reached? It's been called multiple times.
no. What I'm saying is when it gets called and the API is not done loading, it would call it with the same offset. So if the offset was 30, it would call it with 30 twice. If it was 60, it would call it with 60 twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you would get duplicate messages. And that was the problem that we saw that, John and the others reported. Now, in order not to get duplicate messages, you have to make sure this offset is fetched. And therefore, you have to make sure it's not loading.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this is here.
So to me, it's gonna be always is loading because on end reached is triggering another it's triggering an Apollo call which is gonna set the status network status to loaded. So it's gonna be
Well,
always
it's
loading.
not always going to be on loading because obviously, if it was, chat wouldn't work right now.
I know it just maybe just those the combination of those conditions make it to work, but I think it will be working regardless of that network status loading or not.
Why is that?
So you're saying if you remove now loading, you will see duplicated messages?
If the API takes long enough, yes.
Takes long enough.
So you
Oh,
won't see it every single time. It depends on how, like, if you have a slow network connection, the API, you have a lot of images, maybe you have long messages, then yes, you will see duplicates.
hmm.
And that's the whole purpose of me adding this is because we were seeing duplicates. I mean, maybe we can call on end reach and like a use effect or something, but have condition like it also
Yeah,
has to be
that,
conditions
that, would-
around it.
that no, having on Android inside use effect, it will just make it worse because you
Mm,
need now to control use effect dependencies, and
yeah.
this component has a lot of variables, states. So
Well, can we somehow connect? Can we somehow make on and reach?
you
Yeah.
pass in the network status to the dependencies of the user callback. Uh, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't get. Uh, uh, if you only just do the status messages instead, because give all messages, it's an object, and for React, it's gonna be always different. I mean, yeah. So that use effect there, that use callback there, it's not really has any effect because you
Yeah.
as a dependency get all message, and the get all message is an object which every time it's different. So every time it's gonna be different that network status. I mean, if it's called every time, but on end reached, it will be called only once when you hit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's a dependency,
Yeah.
so to speak. I think it's more like the timing of when on end reach is called. Um, Now we have it. Uh, it's obviously called here. Yeah, it's controlled by the list. Um, can we have a condition where we call on end reached again inside the list, maybe inside flash list?
What do you mean?
Mm, what I'm saying is maybe we have like I don't know if this exists. But I'm not. I'm kind of thinking out loud. If there's some way that flash list gives us a way to call on end reach, or
Like,
maybe
call
have
it.
it called more than once, because you know how right now it's just called once.
Well, on end reach is just a callback that you can call it wherever you want. Like for example, you said
I,
example,
I I know, I know, but I want it to be controlled by
and
flash list.
it is controlled by flash list because
Yes,
as
but it's
soon
only
as you
called
reach
once.
yeah,
Like
because you reach the end once. Like when you scroll.
correct, correct.
Uh-huh.
What I'm saying is there a way around this? Because
No,
you see the
I
limitations
don't know.
we're running
Yeah,
into.
I, I don't know if there is, and also I don't see any use case for it to be there.
Units. So maybe.
Like I'm talking in general. Like if I created a list component, I would not say
Mhm.
use case for me where
Well, the use
this.
cases. Well, right now we have a use case that could be useful, but the
Well,
thing
I
is,
would use case, but like I was talking in general.
no. Well, even in general, for pagination, I mean, on interest is obviously all it's oriented around pagination, right?
Yeah,
So, are we not using best practice by getting the next offset from the backend?
you pass the next offset to the next call you do. Yeah, that's correct. But
No, we have it set up correctly. What I'm saying
yeah.
is that not good practice? Because we can, as I
Oh no,
mentioned,
that's good. You pass in the next offset to get the next messages.
well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, should we be calculating this on the front end side?
No, that's the back end because you would not know the next offset because you don't have the context of the whole messages. It's the back end that's gonna tell you what are the next offset.
Okay, but then we run into the problem of duplicates.
That's that I still don't understand. Like, yeah, you said like when in situations where the internet is slow and everything.
Not just the internet is slow; it could be fast. It could just the API itself take a while, and you would. I mean, think about it. In this case, like, why are we running into this problem? Because we just we just called on and reached while it's still loading. Like the second on and reach was called, it was still loading. Right?
So
If
you
it's still
saying the on
loading,
end, okay, the on end which is being called twice or more than
no, no, no. It got called once.
it got called once? Okay.
When it got called, you can see here that the network status was one.
Well, if it just got called, the network status should not be one, should not be loaded. It should be idle or something else because you did not yet fire the API call. The API call it's in the fetch more, so that should not be loading. The network status should not be loaded.
Well, it got fired twice. Like it got fired rapidly twice
Yeah, that's why
because
you have
this
to.
right here is loading all 30 messages or whatever. It's loading 30 plus messages.
Well, that's the reason why there's duplicates. It's because the on end which was being called multiple than once, where it should be only once. And
Well, and it got, yeah, and that goes back to the very first, like at stand up when we started talking about this, where I was saying that, well, the theory came up to where it was said it was probably related to this. So it looks like it may be related to this, but not in the way we thought initially, or not the way I thought initially. So what you're saying in general Well, it's well, you're. I guess what you're saying is in normal, like in just a regular chat. Let's if we just go here, right? It's gonna load like well, this one doesn't have anything. Let's go like here. So, and normally we wouldn't have a lot of like messages, so it would load 30 and 30 in order for you to like scroll and like after it's loaded, it that would give it enough time to like set it to false, right? And then it will just work normally, like you see here. But in the case where, but wait, that also doesn't make any sense because you can see that. Okay, let me just remove some of these logs. Let me remove this one. Let me remove this one. So, and let me remove this one as well. Well, let me keep that one. And let me actually put this here so we can actually see what the next offset was. So you can see that it did call end message here and it did fail.
because the next it's undefined and well, let me see what's there.
Okay, let me put this back. So let's go back again. Let's go here. So we can see that it failed because the third condition was 1, 2, 3. Well, no, 7. Oh, this one. The next it didn't have a next offset.
Yeah,
So Enrich got called here, even though we didn't have a next offset. Let's see, we're paginating. Okay, it looks like it failed again after reach 90. Is that because we reached the top? Okay, so it looks
wait,
like
so the next offset is always incremented by 30.
okay, but wait, just give it a second. So look, you see how on end reach got called twice with one with like even with 90. You see how it got called 3 times
Yeah,
the same.
yeah. That's why there was duplicates to begin with because this was
Yes,
being called twice.
yes, and this is catching them. So let's see what happened here. The first 90, it looks like it called it, and then we're in. That means it updated it successfully. Now it called it again with 90. Not sure how it called it again with 90.
Well,
Obviously, it failed because it looks like it had. Oh,
it
it was
calls
updating the
93 times.
query.
It
So it looks
calls
like
93 times,
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
It called 90. So only one of these actually updated the query.
Because of the is loading more. If you look to the is loading more, it's the only one that it's different.
Correct. It
So
stopped
the
it.
other one, the other ones do not really play any role of deciding whether to run it again or not.
In this case, it didn't.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
Let me
let's
see
see
if
other
there's
cases
cases where it
where
did.
yeah.
In this case, it looks like it failed it, and it was the loading that stopped it.
So the first pagination we rely on loading, then we start paging relying on is loading more.
It's not about relying. It's about when
I
it's
mean,
getting
the
called.
the one that really decides which, like, yeah, like the condition that decides whether to continue fetching or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, it's like the network status, the first pagination, but after all, like after the first one, it's not. It's gonna be the is loading more.
Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like.
Well,
The question is, why is it calling it with
exactly.
90
Like
twice?
the proper way we could have like addressed this is like to figure out why this is being called twice and it should be only called once. Then we would not have to deal with duplicates, with doing logic to. I mean, we're gonna be just doing custom logic that's gonna be prone to errors because that's how it is. So if we could,
But the thing is, we don't have control when n, like you said, the
yes,
list controls when on end reach is being called,
sure, and it should be called only once.
which it is called only. Mm,
No,
then again, it's not called only once.
yeah, so maybe this is where we should like put effort to see what's going on there. I'm not sure too why it's being called, but by design it should be only called once.
Um, yeah, we're gonna need to do some research on this. Okay, how about me and you take this off stand up? Jerry, I don't think this is a back end issue. Well, it's not. Well, the back end, we can't really do anything about the back end at the moment because of backwards compatibility. Um, and I don't think it's a back end issue. Like, I think we have other issues. Like maybe, so like maybe me and Amin could do our own research first because I feel like that's always better to each one of us to do our own research and then have a work session later today after we come to some conclusions and go over them instead of holding everybody here and stand up. But I think we have an idea of why it happened. We still don't have a solution yet, but we know the reason why it's happening.
Okay, I've been multitasking here a little bit. So you want to break off with Jerry?
No. I think it's a friend end, or it's not. I think it's a problem with. So the pagination for this is it's a little tricky. Um, First of all, we have duplicates of like when it tries to paginate with the same value. We have I added logic to see if that happens to prevent it. Um, but I mean, was saying let's try to look in more why it's even doing it in the first place. Like why is it even sending duplicates in the first place?
I see.
Um, so we still don't understand why because on end reach is controlled by flash list.
Do you have a suspicion why?
Not yet. I I I, I want to
Okay,
break it down like and see.
I have another
Um,
question.
yeah.
I mean, did you guys discuss the other behavior that happened yesterday that was also a little odd where if I came into the chat, it loaded part of the conversation, then 2 seconds later, another part of the conversation? And
I can tell you it's because it loads. Did you have a topic with a lot of messages before it? Like a
maybe
long topic thread.
like, well, you
Yeah,
know how the topics preview, it's a preview. It only shows 3.
Exactly, but it's actually fetching all like it's fetching the whole thread. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you have uh like over like this well this one's a little
I see what you're
topic
saying.
right
So
here right here.
I see what you're saying. There might be a bunch of
Yeah,
messages in there, so it's slow because it's catching all of them.
exactly. Even though you're not seeing them, it is fetching them all from the back end. So sometimes it has to paginate twice before you
What's the
see your
solution for that?
see. We talked. That's what me and Jerry were talking about at the beginning of stand up. I guess Jerry, can you explain to him maybe why that's needed or if it's needed? Like,
Well, right now, I'm recommending against changing anything from where it is right now because in order to get to have the back end return exactly how it's going to be displayed on the front end isn't as easy because of the logic that it's doing. It's grouping 3.
Yeah.
And what that means is that if there's like 50, it's like we have to take 1, 2, 3 and then cut off all the others in the topic. That's pretty complicated logic to do from the database side, which is where it would have to be done for this query to be paginatable.
Why does it have to get all 50? Why can't it get the most recent?
Well, it starts from the most recent. So what happens is you have at the very bottom of the chat, Ismail, you want to scroll down here and I can kind of explain to John where it is. Maybe scroll to
this is not the same chat. Do you want to go back to the other chat?
no, I think it's fine. Like, okay, let's start. Okay. So I'm just gonna throw some numbers. So when you fetch the query for get all message for the main chat, your first message is going to be testing. And then your second message is going to be the share card. Your
Mhm.
third message is going to be Jerry Trusclair added Circles test to the group.
Sorry, just one quick correction. This is generated from the object within testing, so it's not its own message.
That should be testing should be its own message.
Is that?
Yeah.
Hmm,
Because
okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, regardless, that's besides the point, I guess.
Okay, so go up a little bit. Ismail. So okay. So let's imagine that Cassandra had 60 messages in it.
Mhm.
What happens is, so message 4 would be testing, and let's just say there's 50 messages in between there. So message 5 through 20, message 5 would display, message 6 would display. Well, and then 7 through 20, or actually we paginate 30. 7 through 30 would be hidden because we only show the most recent 3 in that share card.
I still don't get why you have to even deal with the 50 in the topic.
We do, so I think it's being worded incorrectly that we're not fetching all of the topic messages at once. What main chat does is it fetches all of the messages in the group from all topics chronologically. So it's not like you're fetching messages from, months ago.
Yeah.
Everything is listed, whether it's a main chat message or a topic message,
Yeah.
in chronological order.
Huh.
The time that it gets messy is when there's a large conversation and a topic that goes on exclusively in that topic with no other activity in any other topic to break it up.
Huh.
So what would happen is for 30 messages, let's say every message in a page of 30 was within a topic. So only the most recent 3 would show in that share card.
Yeah.
And then what the front end should do is the front end should catch another page, like starting from number 31, going 31 to 60. And it does that until it has content that you can scroll. But the concern Ismail's having is you might have to do several paginations before you get new content because of what was happening in that topic for so long.
Can I also add, like, to help better explain it, is that this is a thread, right?
Yeah.
It has not been broken.
Yeah.
So now let's say I do the number 5.
Mhm.
It's still building on that thread.
Yeah.
So imagine you have 50 messages here instead of 5.
Yeah.
This thread would have 50 messages until I say 1 and I break it, or somebody
Yeah.
else sends a message in main chat, or somebody else sends another topic message.
Yeah.
Then that thread is broken.
Yeah.
But before this thread is broken, it's going to paginate every single message, not the whole topic, but every single message in that thread before like anything sent. Okay, let me do test two. This is the best way to understand it. Anything sent between anything sent after test one and before test two in this topic would be loaded. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we had 5 messages here, it would load 5. If we had 50, it would load 50. Now again, if we had 100, it would load 100. And if it did have 100 in here in this thread, it would have to paginate 3 times before it gets you test. So
Okay,
it will be
let me ask you this, because we haven't talked about this in a few months. But if you guys remember, ultimately we wanted a little better solution design, and we put it on the back burner because it's a bit of a refactor. But I think if in it, I might need help remembering from you guys, but um, the idea was going to be we don't just start breaking up all these preview windows over and over and over. Um, it was just going to take the last 3 and kind of like delete, not delete, but hide. But you wouldn't see multiple little preview windows depending on if you had paginated or not paginated. Um, it was going to kind of keep a running. So like if you had this one here for the In-N-Out Burger one, like you would bring the card down, like you would combine these. The card would come down.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, actually, mm,
Does that
that's a
help
good
us?
point. Wait, Jerry, that you saying that, John, one of I had suggested that we have a flag that gets the last 3 messages only. But then one of Jerry's concerns, which was valid, was because what if we have like a test thread up there, then how would we know the difference? But if we don't want a test thread, or if we don't want another thread of the same topic, so what that means is you can't have 2 threads of the same topic, or that's what you're saying, John, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I think it gets complicated if you paginate, or if you left the chat higher up in the conversation and came back, and we were saying, so there may be some instances where you would have double preview windows, but so what?
Well, no, because every single user would get their data off the back end, and that's the source of truth. So it doesn't matter if you left or came back, the source of truth is still the back end.
Okay, I mean, I was guess it wouldn't know where to insert the preview window was the concern, remember? But it wasn't really like a big deal though. If it
Well, it would just load the messages until whatever the user has access to, and it would just look the same for everyone.
mm-hmm. Okay.
But Jerry, if we do want only one instance of this, wouldn't it be better to have like a flag where we get the last 3, or not a flag, a separate API to get the last 3 messages, or maybe we can even use this API, the same one here, and just have it fetch 3. Because but wait, that being said, you do still, like, let's say it was initially here
Yeah, because
and
if
then
you're
moved down to
right
here,
here,
you still
yeah,
have to go make changes in the database, right?
I would
Which
have to make some sort of optimized index that on the fly can tell you where a topic message lies in the chronology of it.
correct. So you would have to constantly, like, you'd have to remove this one and just have this.
Yeah. Let me see how that index could work. Let's see.
But then again, this still won't solve our problem. Well, it would help. It would help, I guess, but we still have to see why it's calling it multiple times here. Like, this would be, let me just put it this way. This would be a good idea it would make the API a whole lot faster for the main chat, at least. If we can get it to work, it will not be backwards compatible. So that's problematic. So we might have to create a new API, which also doesn't sound like fun.
But it will be a better user experience in the long run, because there are instances where it's like there's just no need to have one reaction or like one little message in a preview window, then a main chat message, then another in the same topic, but it's separate preview windows. It's just a lot of extra space. It would be way better to merge them.
Yeah, and that will be, the backend would be responsible for merging them, or the database to be specific, because it has the full picture. But I don't know how easy or hard that is. Like, Jerry would have to kind of, I guess, explore.
Yeah, I'll need to do some digging to see
Um,
work.
But
but
maybe
that being said,
this is the time,
that
right?
is not needed to fix the pagination problem.
You don't
We
think
can.
this will do it?
I think it
won't
would
help?
help with our current situation, but we do have another problem where it is calling this, like, it looks like it's calling on end reached multiple times. So that's what me and Amy want to work on.
Okay.
So this would, like I said, like this would be a kind of nice to have. It would make things better, but we do have a problem still.
I think I could try and do something. We could try it in QA, Ismail. I think I might have an idea.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind backwards compatibility while doing this.
It might be. Let's
Interesting.
let's go to try and test this out in QA. If you want to go over,
Huh?
if you want to, maybe we can reconnect on this later. But
yeah.
when you want, I might have an idea.
Okay. Well, if you want to kind of explore that, let me know. Meanwhile, we have to try to fix this on-end issue. As I said, I kind of want to do some research. Maybe, if you want to speed it up, you can do your research as well, and we can just kind of meet up once we're both done and kind of come to a final conclusion.
Okay. So are we going to go for the design change too?
That would be step 2. Step 1 is fixing this on-end problem, getting called multiple times.
What if they should be done hand in hand? Since
No, they're not related.
no,
They're 2 different things.
but like, you sure the new design won't have an effect? Like, we can't kind of combine the two.
No, the problem is just the on-end reach is it's just a function that gets called when you reach the end. It should only be called once. It's not. It was just that's the problem we're facing. It has nothing to do with the other. Now, again, maybe the way we paginate things will look a little different, but that has nothing to do with the function being called multiple times. They're 2 different things. One is changing how we paginate. The other one is seeing why the pagination function is being called multiple times. So they're 2 different things.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. So you want to go through step 1, then we look at the step 2 of like merging preview windows?
Correct.
Okay. Which I think will be better in the long run.
And
Anyway.
step 2 doesn't have to be rushed. Like, I feel like step 1 should be rushed.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
step 2 can wait. Like, it's.
You sure there's no benefit in getting them all tackled together?
No.
Like, there's going to be some crossover.
Not necessarily, no.
Because
Well,
there's a lot more risk too. There-
Yeah.
Introduce a lot more risk because now we're making a greater change. Because like right now, John, we really want to get this built into the store. And if we open up a can of worms that's like a complete refactor, we're going to be testing this for a lot longer.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess let's start with the most important aspects. And so, how do you propose you wanted to work on that
I just
separately?
want to see why it's being called multiple times. So I just want to do some research there, try to figure out how it works,
Okay.
read more about it, and see
Okay.
why it's being called multiple times, basically.
Okay. And what were we working? What were you were asking Amit about something earlier? What do you need Amit for?
Oh, I was just gonna ask him about the message count, but I figured it out.
Okay. Okay. All right. What else do we need Amit for?
Well, I'm working on this thing right here, the notification. I'm setting up the APIs for this, but I don't know if he sent me the data. I guess I just had a question for the queries we have for the queries on it. So you
Yes.
sent me this first query.
Right.
It doesn't have a request object. What's the request object here?
So you don't need to pass any request of this. It will be common for both, like silence and pause and it will give the option.
But I mean, okay. So I guess where does this get? What is this for? If we're looking here, is it for this right here?
Yeah, notification. Click the notification. Yes.
Okay, but this is connected to a group. So if we at least need to pass the group key or something.
No, it will be for the play group. It will be same option will come now.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
For every group, it will come same option.
I mean, we're not. No, we're not. When we go to notifications here and we put like silence for 24 hours, we're only talking about the specific group, not all of them.
No, so for there is second other API. Go there. Bottom. It will be the user selected option. It will show you. And here you will pass user key and group key.
So what's this for?
So this is for the all giving you only option. The 4 or 3 option you are getting it now. So like that.
Not following. Sorry.
Go to the click on notification.
Here.
Yeah, this option you can see for 1 hour, for 8 hours, for 24 hours, and until I hold it back.
Yes.
So this option you can show it.
But this is for a specific group. How would this tell me what group this is for if I'm not passing in that group key?
So like you can use for all the group, no? This option. You can use for all the group.
I am not following. Is there a screen I'm missing, or like I don't get it. Sorry, is anybody else following?
Jerry, can you please put it there? So like first one, it will give
wait.
option.
What's up? What were we talking about?
This API.
Yeah. Okay.
One API get 1 minute. What is the name? Get silence and pause option for group notification.
Mhm.
So it is not. It is give him the option only. What are the options available?
Right. We don't need an input parameter for this. Go on.
What do you mean
Yes.
by it gives me the options? Like are you talking about these?
Yeah.
Yes, these.
Oh, so you're telling me that these are coming from the back end.
Right. Like that day you told me can you please give me from the backend when we discussed the API.
Oh.
Mm.
I did
Well,
not.
yeah, Ismail, like you weren't in yesterday, so I couldn't ask. But like, do you understand like where like that the backend needs a like a timestamp?
Yeah, that part I understood.
I mean, I don't think we need this coming from the back end.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, the only benefit of this coming from the back end is that if we want to change these values later on without having an app update, but other than that, yeah, I don't see why these would be
We
returned
can
from the
add
back end.
multiple option also. That from the if it will come from backend, like suppose we want to pause for 4 hours, you can add it from backend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only benefit, we will. Yeah. But then again, but then these but then this also doesn't make sense because we have two of these. We have one for silence, one for pause. And if we have one that's selected, or would this one tell us what's selected? Oh, never mind. This one will tell us what's selected, right?
Right.
So this will tell us the options, which would be the same for both.
Correct.
And this will tell us what's the selected, so we can have it highlighted.
Right.
I see.
And third one is the API to mark.
This is a mutation too, yeah, to set it basically. And we have two of these, one for silence and one for pause.
Yep. Yeah. So same API you can do it. Like I have give you the request parameter in both the cases. Yeah. It's called on.
Yeah. No, I saw the request parameters here. No, these make sense. This was the only one that didn't make sense to me.
Okay. All clear?
Yeah. Do we want to go to support? Does everybody agree that we should get these from the back end? It will just take a second to load, I guess. I would just have to have a little loader on the screen before it opens so that we make sure we have all the values to show the user.
That's assuming anything's been selected.
No, that's what they were saying. They were saying that this for 1 hour, for 8 hours, this is coming from, it looks like we want it to be coming from the back end.
I don't know.
So that we can add or remove options, unless these are for sure going to be the same, or if we want to update them, that would have to be via app. Well, the thing is, we can't. Well, actually, I take that back. Maybe it is good for the backend because you know why? What if we decide we don't want to do 8 hours anymore? We want to do 4. Everybody who has the old app will see 4 hours, but the backend doesn't support 4 hours anymore. Or we can always add but not remove. Actually, I take that back. So yeah, so this coming from the backend would have one benefit, and that is we can add values without an app update. Add or remove values without an app update. That's the only value I see. If we want that, we can have it coming from the backend. If not, we can have them in the front end.
Then you can ignore this API. If you don't want from the backend, you can ignore this API.
Correct. So do we or do we not want to have this coming from the backend, I guess? That's my question. Maybe to you, John?
That's a tough one. Kind of in and out too, because I'm working on a different conversation on the side here. But I mean, obviously the best experience is instant, whatever's instant. So, but also,
but it still does have to. Well, I guess that's correct, but it does have to. We still do have to load before we show the value because we have to see which one is selected.
yeah, I mean, majority of the time, people come here like 99.9% of time, people come here, nothing will be selected. People will come here and then they'll just hit cancel because they'll just be curious, So like, it's not even.
So you don't want a loader, like a little loader. It might take a split of a second, or maybe just like blur it until it's done. Or the other option would be it would load and then something will get highlighted like a second after, which. Or unless we probably store it on the user's device, the setting, but then that would just require more in state management in terms of.
It sucks. It has to load every time, even though most times it won't even have anything. And that's just because it's going to get the information from the back end as soon as you click on.
Yeah, like let's say you did this, you clicked on it, this showed in a second, and it took like 500 milliseconds to get like the user setting. So this will just be highlighted like a 500 milliseconds later.
Yeah, good question. I like that it slides over here instantly.
Well, it would always slide instantly. What we can do again is just have like a
Well,
blur loading, or I
but
guess
there wouldn't.
another approach would be to store the value locally, but we just have to make sure that the backend and the locally stored value are always in sync.
Yeah, but all these values, the top four and the bottom four, they wouldn't be instant. Yeah, the screen would slide instantly, but we'd be missing the value, right?
Well,
But
that's what I'm
maybe
saying. Store it locally.
that's one way. I thought you said you didn't like doing that.
It'll just we have to keep sure the backend and the local are in sync. But if we want it, it's an option. It's just more work.
Okay. Um, hmm. Or it could
Or like I
change.
said, we can
Or
have
it
like
could
a little
change.
blur, like the screen will be a little blurry for half a second, and then it'll show, but it will still slide instantly.
I haven't seen the design for what it looks like to undo it, so I kind of want to see what that looks like.
What do
Maybe
you
the
mean by
button.
undo it?
Well, like, so if I pick until I turn it back on, what does it look like when we come here the second time?
Well, if you had this clicked, well, I still didn't connect the backend, so it doesn't save it, but this would be highlighted, or it would be blue,
Yeah.
and then this would change to what was the text? I don't have the Figma open, but I'll tell you. This one, this one right here. It will be yeah, it will look like this. So if you click 8, this will be selected and this will be turned back on. So that's how
Chantel
it
was
would
going
work.
to do a design to like undo it.
What do you mean by undo it?
If it says until I
Yeah,
turn,
if you actually look at it, you'll see the verbiage is different as the way I had originally designed it. I wanted to talk to you about that. If you see the last option on silence notifications, you can see where it says for 8 hours and it says turn back on. So that when you first have it, it says until I turn it back on. And then once you've selected something, it'll say turn back on.
okay, weren't we going to say restore or resume or something like that?
So I looked at it, and what we were initially thinking about with the restore resume, that was with a different feature. I think that was with like blocking, because we were talking about that around the same time.
Okay. Okay.
And also, I don't have
Do
this.
you want it to be a button?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe like a check mark at least at the end.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me think about this for a second.
Yeah, if we want to do any style updates, yeah, just let me know, Chantal, if you make any style updates, and I'll change.
What is
I'll look here
Discord?
accordingly.
Yeah, I want to see what Discord looks like when they turn their to get theirs back on.
And John, I think we need to change for the API also for this turn back on. So when Sontel said the design that time, it was not there.
Right. Okay.
Mm,
So we gotta share that with Amit.
yeah.
You have to add that to the
So
API.
yes, yeah. Yep,
So-
API. So API. Jerry, I think in that case we will delete from that table, right? What we are passing there, delete records will be true.
Yep.
Correct?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Mm.
Okay. I think for now, just yeah, let's have the backend handle it, and I don't think you need a loader, so I think it'll change to blue, or a button will show up or something.
Yeah, but the actual list will be on the front end, or do you want to use the list itself populated from the back end?
You plan on doing the list from the front end, right?
Okay, then I'll just ignore that API. The
Because that
first
means
one,
the whole thing slides in instantly, right?
correct,
And then maybe one of them turns color after a second.
correct.
Yeah, something like that. Let's start with that, and then let's tweak it from there.
Okay, so I will ignore the first API Amit sent, and
Yes.
for the mutations, you are going to add a new value for resume.
Mm, yes, new value for jump, correct.
Okay.
So okay, yeah, I will update the API.
Okay, let me know what that
Yes.
updated API
Okay.
is.
I'm working on it. I will give you in 30 minutes. Let me work on
Okay.
that part.
Sounds good.
Okay. So John, I'm going to work on that part.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
See you later. Okay. So any other questions, Ismail?
No,
Okay.
I'll just stay in touch with Amit.
Okay.
Also, one thing I want to discuss, let me before, so regarding this event time showing in local format.
Yeah.
So today I work on it and I found it can be easily doable from the app side also. Like app, I search about it. Since backend, what I did, I'm trying to call one signal to get user time zone. And then in that case, it is lots of processing. Since we are sending notification all at a time. Okay. Like
So
so we are
it's-
getting.
yeah. So it's a lot of processing because what about the notification?
Like since like for event, you shared the event. It's you started the event start time, right?
Yeah.
It should be different for each user perspective.
Yep.
Yep. So like that day we decided we will get time zone from the one signal. Once
But
we
you
are
don't
getting,
think that's too much processing?
yes, too much processing.
Wait, how does the app side get it?
App
just-
side, like I search about the chat GPT and they are saying we will send backend will send raw data like a UTC format or any format, and app will convert that one.
Amit, wait. For the processing, we said we were only going to take the creator's player ID. That
No,
should-
no, no. First, we decided we will get all users. Look,
But then we said that would be complicated, and we said we
Yeah.
just go by the creators.
then it is easy. Then it is easy. Then if you will show creator local time, then it is easy.
That's what we decided.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
So
there
can
is no problem. But I was saying like if you want to show, see here, this is only this line of code. Like here, what we need to pass,
Mhm.
and in your app code, iOS or Android, intercept the notification and format it. They can format it in local time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm.
I have an answer for you, John. For Discord, when you come back, the only option is unmute. There are no other options.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, why even show 8 hours? But how would you know? I guess you don't even know. Then, did you pick 8? Did you pick 24? They don't tell you.
No, it just says unmute.
I see. So I guess it's kind of up to you to remember. I
Yeah.
suppose you could unmute it and then mute it again if you wanted to.
Well, and in the previous screen on there, I do show the time of the until. So if they go back to that screen, you'll see when it's supposed to stop. So really, we could just make that a down arrow. I think there's plenty of room without it having to create a scroll just to say like unsilence or whatever or restore
Yeah.
rather than having a whole other screen for it after you click it again. So you would only go to a different screen to set it.
The problem
And then
is
if it is set,
there's a lag before the app knows if
Mhm.
anything's been chosen. So
Yeah.
it kind of has to be, it either has to wait a second, which could be weird, like a weird feeling to the app, or um, show it in more of like a default state. So in other words, we wouldn't know if it should be a drop down menu or not. Like
Mm.
it's gonna take a second to determine what was actually, if there's even anything chosen or not. So, but what we could do is just have it come over to that screen and then like some type of resume button appears after a second or two. That's the worst case scenario. I don't think that'd be too bad.
I don't think it would be too bad either.
Yeah, so maybe just have a resume, or what do we like? Resume or restore? I can't remember which.
I think restore.
Restore. Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's have a restore button next to the one the one that was selected.
If we do that, then it being that could look a little, not too nice if you have options and they all of a sudden disappear.
There wouldn't be any other options though. It would just be
Yeah,
that.
but so we don't know if so when we first open the screen, we don't know if the user has it silenced or not.
Right. The view will
Wait,
always.
I have an idea. Maybe we
Yeah.
call the API on the parent,
That would be helpful.
and then we just pass the value to,
Right. So you're a step ahead.
yeah.
I like that a lot better. Great. Good. Yeah. Don't know why I didn't think of that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I think we'll do that.
Okay. So we'll do that. Okay. And then we'll have like a resume button. Shanta.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So you're gonna work on the pagination stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll give that priority until until Chantel redesigns and Amit makes the API tweak.
I think I got a solution that we could apply to both QA and prod now.
For pagination.
Yes.
Okay.
It-
And
so-
also would combine the preview windows, or that's still not. We're not talking
So
about.
here's what I'm doing. It's not combining the preview windows, but what it's going to do is we're not going to show any preview cards if beyond the third to last message in the topic, unless it is the first message in the topic, which means it's the share card. Does that make sense?
I think John didn't want the share card as well.
So
Wait, no, I think I'm yeah. So when would we see the share card?
well, we would see the share card in the main chat, like chronologically.
Yeah,
It would be chronologically at the time that it was shared.
yeah. Okay, good. That'd be good. And then
And that eliminates this thing here. I mean, I could turn it on real production if you want to try it.
You're talking about so this is a share card and this is it being a message. So you're saying it would show both.
Yep.
Yeah, but well, I guess
That'd be fine.
John wanted one card. So John, do you still want it to have both?
Well, in this case right here, I don't see any harm in merging those two to where test is above the share card and the share card has.
That screws up with the order. That's where we start to run into problems.
I see. So you would add, but you could add the 3, 4, 5 to the share card.
No, it's still basically what you would see. Yeah, do that, Ismail. So